Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Jim. How are you? Thanks for the compliments.
Hey, man, I got to tell you, you're one of those few people who became an adjective or a verb or whatever. Like people say, don't go all Donny Osmond on me or something like that because you've managed, and I was reading, and I don't know if Wikipedia is real or not, but I was reading how, your so-called Boy Scout image was a negative for part of your career. I've talked to comedians who say that because they didn't curse, it actually hurt them, and they didn't get parts in movies and things. I just want to give you credit, and I don't mean it in a corny, I have kids kind of way, but just to survive and thrive and reinvent yourself and keep doing it and have success in Vegas and coming out now with album number 60. It is so hard. I don't know if the average person has an understanding of what day-to-day was like to have to do that. And I want to just congratulate. And could you talk about that for a little, how you maintain that?
Well, first of all, thanks, Jim. I appreciate that because it is difficult, in a business where everybody's trying to push the envelope as far as possible to get ratings, to get viewerships, and things like that. So when everything kind of fell out after my teen idol career kind of went away in the late 70s, you got to focus on your music, on your talent, and that's how the reinvention takes place. Anybody can be popular just by doing something bizarre, and whether it be through language or lewdness and stuff like that. But it's down to the music, and that's why in this album, like you said, my 60th album, I really focused on great songs and recording them in a way that took it away from the original to a certain extent, so I wasn't doing karaoke, but just made it really, really interesting. Because these songs, every single one of them, are songs that I grew up with that made me who I am today.
And you haven't varied from it. And when you had pressure, Donny, to get a little, and I don't even want to say edgier, because you would get edgier, you just didn't want to go past a certain line. What was it? Was it your own morals? Was it religion? Was it not wanting to disappoint fans? What was it that kept you from saying, all right, I'll make believe I got arrested for something? Or what kept you from doing that?
Well, you got to be yourself. You got to be who you are, because you got to look at yourself in the mirror. And there were some opportunities, Jim, that where I could have gotten busted for drugs and stuff like that, and it would have really made me, given me street cred and stuff like that. But boy, it would have hurt me later on in my life. But all these opportunities presented themselves to me over the years, and I'm thinking, do I want to be popular, or do I just want to be an artist and stay true to my values and who I am? And it's tempting, to be honest with you, it's tempting to just say, I could be all over the press if I just did this. But I'd be compromising my standards. And like I said, you got to look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and say, do you like that person?
And it's hard to keep that going. And I have a 13-year-old daughter, for example, and, she went and see One Direction, and they're okay, and they're edgy, and she liked people like Selena Gomez and everything. But as a father, I'm waiting, and I'm saying, I hope Selena Gomez doesn't do a sexual tape, or I hope these people, because it crushes these kids. And I went back, and people do this to you, Donny. I apologize ahead of time, but I played a little puppy love for my young producer here, and to show what you did, and said that guy was the teen idol for the 13-year-olds many years ago, and it was okay to be corny and sweet and to like someone who was going to be a nice guy. Nowadays, I mean, my wife will say, do you know the lyrics in the song your daughter's singing? I'm like, yeah, but don't think of the lyrics. It's a catchy song. You can't find anything that's catchy, that's still clean, unless you go into the religious realm.
Right, that's true. But then again, some of the songs that we listen to, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, that's all about drugs, isn't it? Mm-hmm. We didn't know that.
We didn't care.
We really didn't care. It was great music. So it's kind of a catch-22. Yeah, sometimes they listen to the lyrics, sometimes they don't. But it's a challenge all the time, and that's why I keep going back to the music. Do you really want to just be popular, or do you want to be an artist? I want to be an artist, and I think that's why I've been able to sustain it over 50-some-odd years of being in the business, is that you just have to keep reinventing yourself, not be a shock, not try to do things that say, wow, what did he do this time? I mean, it's worked for Madonna, and she's trying some new things. She's certainly made some mistakes in social media lately with that new cover, but you just stick to your talent.
Well,
and I think that's what will give you longevity.
And you still surprise people. And I remember when you got great reviews for Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, and I said, "Oh wow, I didn't know he could do that." And then in reading as I prepared for talking for you, I didn't realize that you won Dancing with the Stars in the 9th season. So I didn't know that you had that kind of a talent, because that's not exactly easy to do either.
It's one of the hardest things I ever did, but I'm sure proud of that Mirrorball trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm over the 50-some-odd years, I just have tried everything. And because that's what I love about this business, is that I don't get stuck in a rut. I've done acting and singing and Vegas and all of these kinds of things. I just enjoy jumping around and pushing the envelope of the talent.
Well, and you've been tied to someone, and I'm a sports fan, so sometimes I'll say, well, what's it like if you're Larry Bird, you're always tied to Magic Johnson or whatever. You obviously always tied to your sister Marie, and people always put you together whether you wanted to or not. And I don't know that people who've never been interviewing, celebrities over the years appreciate how hard it is. I mean, even for me to get along every day early in the morning with my producers, it's a hard thing to do. What was it like, good and bad, to be tied to someone else for half a lifetime?
Well, the nice thing is that we both have our own separate careers. We're tied to each other to a certain extent when it comes to the entity Donny and Marie, but it's nice to be able to go out and do your own thing. Like, for instance, this album has nothing to do with the Donny and Marie brand, and Marie does her Nutrisystem commercials and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with the Donny and Marie brand, but it also helps the brand when they come to Vegas, because there's two separate careers, and that's what we do in our show. We come out together, and then Marie does her stuff, I do my stuff, and we come back together and finish off the show.
Well, the album is called Soundtrack of My Life, and I really honestly can't wait to hear it. It's your 60th, and I'm going to ask you where to get it, but I want to ask you just one sort of entertaining question. I mean, give me one time, Donny, that you were doing whatever you were doing in your life, and that you were maybe talking to another star, or you were at a club somewhere or whatever, and you got frustrated with the image of Donny Osmond because someone said, "Hey, we're all going to go to Vegas later, but well, Donny, we know you don't want to go." Did you deal with that?
Oh, absolutely. I remember I was at Michael Jackson's house, and this is just right after Off the Wall was just a huge hit, and before Thriller came out. And we're talking, and he says, "I've got to go see Quincy down at A&M. Do you want to come with me?" And so I hopped in his Rolls Royce. He's a terrible driver, by the way. And he said, I've got a cassette here of my new album that I'm just about to put out. It's called Thriller. Do you want to hear it? And I said, sure. Yeah, put it in. And so I listened to that, and I thought, dude, this is going to be huge. This is fantastic. How do I get back on the charts, Mike? What do I need to do? And he said, well, your name is Poison. You got to change your name. And I'm thinking, what? And he says, yeah, just your image, it's just too goody-goody. You got to toughen it up a little bit. And I said, well, I think you got to change your clothes. And I think he thought I said nose. But I wasn't willing to compromise my image for the sake of getting a hit record. So it took me a couple of years after he said that, but I came out with Soldier of Love, and that's when the industry turned around and said, it was the comeback of the 80s.
Well, good for you. And my producer gave you the ultimate compliment and said, he sounds like a normal guy. So that's the ultimate compliment. Where can we get your music, Donny?
It's going to be all over the place. It comes out Tuesday. It's on Amazon and iTunes. Of course, you can download the Donny Osmond app on your Android or iPhone and sample it for free. And but it's the 60th album, and I'm really proud of this one.
All right. Well, look, man, thanks for the entertainment over the years.
Thank you. Good to talk to you.
All right, Donny Osmond, everybody. Interesting guy, and I mean that sincerely. When someone who does what we do says he sounds normal, that's